The titanium blade stopped 1 millimeter from her throat, and in the frozen silence of 100 witnesses holding their breath, not one person dared to intervene except him. The quiet bartender, who'd never spoken more than 3 words to anyone, caught the knife mid-air with reflexes that made her pulse spike for reasons having nothing to do with survival. But when he offered to teach her to fight back, to train her in his private dojo beneath the city, she had no idea she was agreeing to fall for the one man her prosecutor mother would call the most dangerous mistake of her life. If you crave intense romance where fierce souls defy deadly consequences, smash that subscribe button, because what happens next will make you believe in love that fights for everything. The demonstration had drawn spectators like moths to flame. Jasmine Carter stood center stage at the Urban Arts Festival, her dark skin gleaming under the lights as she executed a traditional West African dance routine. The fabric of her costume swirled with each precise movement, her natural hair wrapped in vibrant gold fabric. The crowd pressed closer, phones capturing every moment. She was magnificent, powerful, completely in her element. Until she wasn't. The heckler had been building toward violence for 10 minutes, shouting crude remarks that escalated from annoying to threatening. Jasmine ignored him with practiced grace, continuing her performance. But when he vaulted onto the stage, knife suddenly in hand, the crowd's energy shifted to panic. Time seemed to slow. The man lunged. The blade caught light. Jasmine froze, trained in dance but not in combat, her body refusing to move. Then someone moved for her. A figure appeared from the crowd's edge with liquid efficiency, intercepting the attack with movements so precise they seemed choreographed. The knife stopped. The attacker dropped, unconscious before he hit the ground. The entire sequence took maybe 3 seconds. Jasmine stared at her unexpected savior. Korean features, lean build, wearing the plain black shirt and slacks of service industry anonymity. He'd served her drinks a few times, always quiet, always watching. "You okay?" His voice was soft, accented lightly, eyes scanning her for injury rather than meeting her gaze. She found her voice. "Yes, thank you. How did you—" Muscle memory. He stepped back immediately, creating respectful distance. "Security is coming. You should probably get somewhere safe." "Wait." Jasmine grabbed his wrist without thinking. The muscle beneath her fingers was like steel cable. "What's your name?" He hesitated, as if the question posed actual danger. Min J. Park." "Min J." She tested the syllables. "You work at Moonlight, right? I seen you there." "I tend bar." He glanced toward the approaching security personnel. "You should go. This will get complicated." "Will you be okay? They might have questions." Something flickered in his eyes. Amusement, maybe, or irony. "I'll be fine. I'm good at answering questions." He paused, then added quietly, "I'm glad you're not hurt." He melted back into the crowd before she could respond, leaving her with racing heartbeat and a dozen questions. Security descended. Paramedics checked her over. Police took statements. Through it all, she kept scanning the dispersing crowd for a glimpse of black shirt and controlled movement. She didn't see him again that night, but she couldn't stop thinking about the way he'd moved, the absolute precision of violence contained and deployed with surgical accuracy, the way he'd asked if she was okay with genuine concern and eyes that otherwise revealed nothing. 3 days later, she walked into Moonlight Lounge. The bar occupied a converted warehouse in the Arts District, all exposed brick and atmospheric lighting. Upscale enough to require reservations, casual enough to welcome artists and professionals alike. Jasmine had performed at private events here twice before, knew the owner vaguely. Min Jae was behind the bar, mixing drinks with the same focused precision she'd seen him use to disarm a knife. When he noticed her, something crossed his face too quick to identify. She sat at the bar. He approached with professional courtesy. "What can I get you?" "Answers." She met his eyes steadily. "How does a bartender move like that? Where did you learn to fight?" "I don't fight." He started preparing a drink she hadn't ordered, hands moving through familiar motions. "I served mandatory military service in Korea. Everyone learns basic combat." That wasn't basic combat. That was, she searched for words, that was expert-level precision, training that takes years. He set an old-fashioned in front of her, made exactly how she liked it, though she'd never told her preference. "Maybe I had good instructors." Or maybe, Jasmine said carefully, you're more than a bartender. Min-jae's hands stilled. His eyes met hers directly for the first time, and she felt the impact like a physical force. Dark, intelligent, carrying weight she couldn't name. Everyone is more than their job, he said quietly. The question is whether being more is safe to share. Is it safe, with me? He studied her for a long moment. I don't know yet, but you interest me, Jasmine Carter. You didn't scream when that man attacked. You didn't cry afterward. You assessed, adapted, and now you're here, asking questions most people would be afraid to ask. Most people, she said, don't get saved by mysterious bartenders with combat skills. Most people don't wonder why someone so clearly capable is serving drinks instead of, she gestured vaguely, doing something else. Maybe I like serving drinks. Or maybe you're hiding. His smile was slight but genuine. Maybe both. He leaned forward slightly. Why are you really here, Jasmine? Because you saved my life and disappeared. Because I watched you move and it was the most beautiful, terrifying thing I've ever seen. Because I can't stop thinking about it. Out loud, she said, because I want to learn, to defend myself, to never feel that helpless again. There are self-defense classes, good ones, safe ones, taught by certified instructors who won't complicate your life. But they won't teach me what you know. She held his gaze. Will they? No. He was quiet for a moment. What I know isn't safe. It's not sport martial arts or fitness boxing. It's real, dangerous. Learning it means understanding violence in ways most people shouldn't have to. I'm not most people, and after 3 days of replaying that moment, of feeling frozen while someone came at me with a knife, she swallowed hard, I need to know I can protect myself, that I'm not helpless. You're not helpless. Min-jae's voice was firm. Freezing is a normal response to sudden violence. It doesn't make you weak. But fighting back is better. Learning to fight back is better. He exhaled slowly, clearly weighing something internal. If I agree to teach you, there are conditions. You don't ask about my past. You don't tell anyone where you're training or with whom. And if I ever tell you to walk away, from training or me, you do it immediately. No questions. That sounds ominous. It's realistic. His eyes were serious. I'm trying to be honest about the risks. Jasmine considered. Every instinct she developed as a daughter of a prominent prosecutor, every warning about dangerous men in questionable situations, told her to decline. But something else, some deeper recognition, told her to trust this. Okay, your conditions. When do we start? Tomorrow night, midnight. There's a building 3 blocks east, abandoned factory with a red door. Knock 3 times. Midnight at an abandoned factory? She raised an eyebrow. You know how this sounds, right? Like a terrible decision? Exactly. But you'll come anyway. It wasn't a question. She smiled. Yes, I will. What Jasmine didn't know was that accepting Min-jae's offer meant stepping into a world she'd only prosecuted from the outside. Didn't know that the quiet bartender was actually a mid-level enforcer for the Beho Syndicate, Korean organized crime with roots deep in the city's infrastructure. Didn't know that teaching her to fight was probably the most reckless thing he'd done in a career built on careful calculation. And she definitely didn't know that Min-jae Park had been watching her for 6 months, had engineered their first real conversation, had been falling for her from a distance with the quiet intensity of someone who knew better but couldn't help himself. The factory's interior was nothing like she'd expected. Instead of decay and danger, she found a fully equipped private dojo. Mats covered the floor, weights lined one wall, practice weapons hung in careful arrangement. Everything was clean, organized, clearly maintained. Min-jae was waiting, barefoot, wearing loose black training clothes. He looked different here, more centered somehow, more himself. This is incredible. Jasmine turned slowly, taking it in. How did you... Long-term lease. The building's owner and I have an understanding. He gestured to a small changing area. There's training gear in your size. Take your time. When she emerged in fitted workout clothes, he was stretching with fluid grace. Watching him move was like watching water, all economy and purpose. We'll start with basics. He moved to the center of the mat. Stance, balance, awareness. Before you learn to strike, you need to learn to see threats coming and position yourself to respond. What followed were 3 hours that redefined Jasmine's understanding of her own body. Min-jae was a patient teacher, explaining physics and leverage with the same precision he used to demonstrate techniques. He never touched her unnecessarily, always asked permission before adjusting her form, treated her with respect that felt almost old-fashioned. But when they sparred, even at reduced intensity, she felt the controlled danger radiating from him, the absolute certainty that he could hurt her if he chose, and the absolute trust that he never would. You're holding back in your hips. He demonstrated a blocking technique. Dance taught you to control your core. Use that. Drive the movement from your center. She tried again, felt the difference immediately. Better, much better. He smiled, and the transformation was startling. When Min-jae genuinely smiled, his whole face changed, became younger, more open. You're a fast learner. Good teacher. She was breathing hard, sweat dampening her skin, endorphins flooding her system. This is amazing. I feel powerful. You are powerful. He handed her water. We're just refining what's already there. They sat on the mat, recovering. In the quiet, Jasmine studied him. Can I ask you something? Not about your past, just general. Carefully. Why did you really intervene that night? At the festival, you could have stayed back and let security handle it, but you didn't. Min-jae was quiet for a long moment. Because watching you hurt would have been unacceptable. He met her eyes. Because you deserve to dance without fear. Because standing by when you have the ability to help, that's cowardice. And I'm many things, but I'm not a coward. Many things, she echoed. What things, Min-jae Park? Complicated things. Things that would make you look at me differently. Try me. He shook his head slowly. Not yet. Maybe not ever. But, he paused, I want you to know that these sessions, teaching you, spending this time together, it's the best part of my week, maybe the best part of my life lately. Her heart kicked against her ribs. Min-jae. I know I shouldn't say that. I know this should stay professional. Teacher and student, nothing more. But I'm not good at pretending when it matters. And you matter, Jasmine. You've mattered since the first time I saw you. When was that? She moved slightly closer. The first time you saw me? 6 months ago. You performed at a private event here, some corporate function. You danced like you were made of light and fire, and I couldn't look away. I've been watching for you ever since, making sure you got to your car safely after late rehearsals, checking the schedule to know when you'd be nearby. She should probably be alarmed. Instead, she felt heat spreading through her chest. That's either very protective or very concerning. Probably both. He smiled wryly. I told you, complicated. Jasmine made a decision that would change everything. She closed the distance between them, reached up, and kissed him. For a heartbeat, Min-jae froze. Then he responded with the same controlled intensity he brought to everything, one hand coming up to cup her face with surprising gentleness, the other resting lightly at her waist. The kiss deepened, became something that made her forget where they were, who they were supposed to be. When they finally pulled apart, both breathing hard, Min-jae rested his forehead against hers. This is a terrible idea, he said quietly. Probably the worst, she agreed. Do you want to stop? No, God, no. But Jasmine, you need to understand, getting involved with me, it's not safe. There are things in my life, aspects of who I am and what I do that could hurt you, that definitely will complicate things. Then tell me, share the complicated parts. Let me decide what I can handle. He pulled back slightly, conflict clear on his face. Not tonight. Tonight, let me just have this. Have you. Tomorrow, next week, I'll find the courage to be honest. But tonight, please. She should insist, should demand truth before letting this go further. Instead, she kissed him again, softer this time. Okay, tonight we just have this. They stayed at the dojo until dawn, training and talking and discovering each other in the careful way of people who know they're standing at the edge of something profound. When Minjae finally walked her to her car, the city was waking around them. Same time next week? He asked. Yes, but also, she grabbed his hand, coffee tomorrow. Normal time, normal place. No training, just us. He squeezed her fingers gently. I'd like that. Driving home, Jasmine felt lighter than she had in months, stronger, more centered, falling into something that felt like destiny. She had no idea that across the city, her mother was building a case that would bring Minjae's world crashing down, had no idea that the Baeko syndicate was already watching her, assessing whether she was asset or liability to their valuable enforcer, had no idea that loving Minjae Park would mean choosing between family loyalty and the man who made her feel invincible. But she was about to learn all of it. The relationship developed over the next month with the intensity of something forbidden. They trained 3 nights a week, and Jasmine grew stronger, faster, more confident in her ability to defend herself. But they also met for coffee, for walks, for quiet dinners at places where Minjae knew they wouldn't be seen by the wrong people. He was careful with her in ways that went beyond physical, asked about her dance career with genuine interest, attended a performance from the back of the theater where she couldn't see him but knew he was there, learned her preferences, her dreams, the complicated relationship with her mother who wanted her to pursue law instead of art. And slowly, carefully, he began to share pieces of himself. His childhood in Busan, immigrating at 15, the military service that had taught him discipline and violence in equal measure, the way he'd fallen into syndicate work almost by accident, discovered he had a talent for the aspects of the job that required control rather than chaos. What he didn't tell her was the full scope of his involvement, the territory he helped manage, the conflicts he mediated, the times violence was necessary, and he delivered it with the same precision he used for everything else. Jasmine, for her part, was falling completely. Minjae made her feel powerful and protected simultaneously, challenged her to be braver while accepting every part of who she was. When he watched her dance, she felt seen in ways that went beyond the physical. When he trained her, she felt respected as an equal despite his obvious superior skill. It was perfect, which meant it couldn't last. The beginning of the end came on a Tuesday. Jasmine's mother, state prosecutor Diana Carter, had built her career on taking down organized crime. She was brilliant, relentless, and deeply protective of her daughter. When Jasmine stopped coming home for Sunday dinners, started being evasive about her schedule, Diana did what any concerned parent would do. She investigated. The first sign of trouble came via text. Mom, I need to see you. My office, tonight. It's important. Jasmine arrived at the state building with growing unease. Her mother's office was exactly as she remembered, all dark wood and legal texts, diplomas covering one wall. Diana Carter looked up from her desk, and her expression made Jasmine's stomach drop. Sit down, baby. Mom, what's going on? Diana pushed a manila folder across the desk. Open it. Inside were surveillance photos. Jasmine leaving the dojo with Minjae, Jasmine kissing Minjae outside a restaurant, Jasmine and Minjae walking together, his arm around her shoulders, and beneath those, different photos, Minjae meeting with known syndicate members, Minjae at locations flagged in ongoing investigations, Minjae's face highlighted in an organizational chart that made her blood run cold. No, she looked up. Mom, no, this is wrong. I wish it was, baby. Diana's voice was gentle but firm. Minjae Park, also known as Min Baeko, mid-level enforcer for the Korean syndicate. He's been on our radar for 2 years. We've connected him to multiple criminal enterprises, money laundering, protection rackets, at least 3 instances of aggravated assault. He's not... She struggled for words. You don't understand. He saved me. He's been teaching me self-defense. He's good, Mom. He's gentle and kind and a criminal. Diana came around the desk, knelt beside her chair. Honey, I know this is hard. I know he probably seems wonderful. These men, they're often charming, protective. They make you feel special, safe. That's how they work. He's not working me. Jasmine's voice rose. "We have a real relationship. He cares about me." "I'm sure he does. That doesn't change what he is or what he's involved in." Diana took her hands. "Baby, I've seen this pattern before. Good people getting involved with dangerous people, thinking they can change them or that love is enough. It never ends well. You don't know him. I know his file. I know what he's capable of, and I know," her voice hardened slightly, "that I'm about to file charges that will bring down his entire organization. The investigation is ready. We're moving forward next week." The world tilted. "Next week?" "I've been working this case for 18 months. We have testimony, evidence, financial records. The Baco syndicate is done, and Min-jae Park is going to prison." Jasmine stood abruptly. "You can't. Mom, please, if you care about me at all—" "This is because I care about you. Don't you see? He's dangerous, Jasmine. To you, to this community, to everything we've worked to build. I'm protecting you. I don't need protecting." The words exploded out. "I'm an adult making my own choices, and I choose him." "Then you're choosing wrong." Diana's prosecutor voice, hard and uncompromising. "And I will not stand by and watch my daughter destroy her life for a criminal." "So what? You're just going to arrest him, send him to prison, tear apart my relationship to make a point?" "I'm going to do my job." Diana's eyes were sad but resolute. "And I'm going to hope that someday you'll understand this was the right thing, the only thing. Now, go home, stay away from Min-jae Park. If you contact him, if you warn him, I will consider that obstruction of justice." Jasmine stared at her mother, this woman she'd loved and admired her whole life, and felt something fundamental fracture between them. "I'll never forgive you for this," she said quietly.
"Better angry at me than dead because of him." Jasmine left without another word. In her car, hands shaking, she pulled out her phone, scrolled to Min-jae's number. Her mother's warning echoed, obstruction of justice. But this was Min-jae, the man who'd saved her life, taught her strength, held her with such careful tenderness, the man she was falling in love with, maybe already loved. She hit call. He answered on the second ring. "Jasmine, everything okay?" "No," she fought tears. "Can you meet me now? It's urgent." "Where are you?" "My apartment. Please, Min-jae, I need to see you." "I'm coming." His voice shifted, protective and certain. 20 minutes. Lock your doors." When he arrived, still in his bar uniform, she pulled him inside immediately. He took one look at her face and his expression darkened. "What happened? Who hurt you?" "My mother." She shoved the folder at him. "She knows. About you, about us, about everything, and she's moving forward with arrests next week." Min-jae went very still. He opened the folder, flipped through photos and documents with increasing stillness. When he finally looked up, his face was carefully blank. "She's thorough, I'll give her that." His voice was conversational, but Jasmine heard the tension beneath. "The case looks solid." "That's it? That's all you're going to say?" "What do you want me to say?" He set the folder down carefully. "That these accusations are false? They're not. That I'm innocent? I'm not. Your mother's right, Jasmine, about what I am, what I've done. The only thing she's wrong about is thinking I could ever hurt you." "So you're just going to let them arrest you?" "I'm going to handle it." Min-jae's jaw tightened. "There are protocols, lawyers, ways to manage this. The organization has resources. But you," he moved closer, cupping her face gently, "you need to stay far away from this, from me, starting now." "No!" She grabbed his wrists. "Absolutely not. I'm not walking away because things got difficult." "This isn't difficult, Jasmine. This is dangerous. Your mother is a state prosecutor. If you're seen with me, if you're involved in any way, it compromises her case, compromises you, could destroy your relationship with your family permanently." "Maybe that relationship is already destroyed." Her voice broke. "She threatened me, Min-jae. Said if I contact you, it's obstruction of justice. She's using her position to control my life." "She's protecting her daughter." He pulled her close. tucked her head under his chin. She's doing what I would do if I were in her position. And as much as I hate it, as much as it's killing me to say this, she might be right. Don't do that. Don't push me away for my own good. Let me make my own choices. What if your choice ruins your life? What if my life without you isn't worth protecting? They stood there, holding each other, while the weight of impossible decisions pressed down. I love you, Jasmine, said into his chest. I know it's fast, I know it's complicated, but I love you, and I'm not walking away. Min-jae's arms tightened around her. I love you too. God, Jasmine, I've loved you for so long, which is exactly why I need to do the right thing. He pulled back, held her face in both hands. I'm going to talk to the organization, see what options exist. Maybe there's a deal to be made, cooperation in exchange for reduced charges. Maybe there's a way through this that doesn't destroy everything. And if there isn't, then I'll do what I have to do to keep you safe, even if that means leaving. Her tears finally spilled over. That's not fair. You don't get to make that choice alone. Life isn't fair, love, but I'm going to try my best to make this work. For us. He kissed her forehead. Promise me you'll be smart. Don't antagonize your mother. Don't do anything that puts you at risk legally or otherwise. Can you promise me that? Only if you promise not to disappear without saying goodbye. I promise. He kissed her, deep and desperate and full of everything they weren't saying. Then, I need to go, handle things before they spiral further. After he left, Jasmine sat in the dark of her apartment and cried for the first time since the attack at the festival. But these weren't tears of fear or helplessness. These were tears of fury and heartbreak and absolute determination. Her mother thought she was protecting her. Min-jae thought he was protecting her. Everyone was so busy protecting her that nobody was actually listening to what she wanted. And what she wanted was to fight. The next week was hell. Jasmine showed up for training sessions at the dojo, but Min-jae wasn't there. She called, texted, got minimal responses. Handling things. Stay safe. I love you. Her mother tried to reach out, asking her to come home, to talk, to understand. She ignored every attempt. The betrayal was too fresh, too raw. She threw herself into dance, practicing until her body ached, trying to work out the frustrated energy that had nowhere else to go. Her company director noticed, asked if everything was okay. She lied and said she was fine. She wasn't fine. She was falling apart. On day 8, her phone rang from an unknown number. Jasmine Carter? Yes? This is Detective Yoon with Metro PD. I'm calling about Min-jae Park. He's asked to speak with you. Her heart stopped. Is he okay? What happened? He's fine, physically, but he's been arrested. Turned himself in this morning with his attorney. He's cooperating with the investigation, but he requested we contact you. Says he needs to see you before formal processing. I'll be there in 20 minutes. The precinct was familiar. She'd visited her mother here countless times growing up, but walking in now to see Min-jae felt surreal. Detective Yoon led her to a conference room. Min-jae sat at a table, wrists cuffed, loosely in front of him, a sharp-suited lawyer beside him. When he saw Jasmine, something in his carefully controlled expression cracked. Can we have a moment? He asked the detective. 10 minutes, then we need to continue processing. The lawyer stood. I'll be outside. When they were alone, Jasmine sat across from Min-jae, taking in the reality of seeing him restrained. You turned yourself in. It was the smart play, he tried to smile. Cooperation looks good to prosecutors. My attorney thinks we can negotiate something reasonable. How reasonable? 3 to 5 years, most likely. Maybe less with good behavior and continued cooperation. He watched her face. It's not ideal, but it's survivable. 3 to 5 years? She couldn't breathe. Min-jae, that's better than the alternative. He leaned forward as much as the cuffs allowed. Listen to me. This is important. I made a deal with my attorney. Part of my cooperation includes full disclosure about my activities, but nothing that implicates anyone outside the organization. That includes you. Your name doesn't appear anywhere. You're protected. I don't care about being protected. I care about you going to prison. I care about you being able to live your life, dance, build your career, maybe repair things with your mother eventually. He held her eyes. I've done things, Jasmine, real things that merit consequences. I'm not innocent, but you are, and I will not let my choices destroy your future. What about our future? She reached across the table, taking his cuffed hands in hers. What about us? We'll figure it out. When I get out, if you still want me? If I still want you? Her voice rose. Min-jae, I love you. That doesn't have an expiration date. You say that now, but 3 years is a long time. You're young, talented, beautiful. You'll meet someone else, someone with a criminal record, someone your mother approves of. Stop it. She squeezed his hands hard. Stop trying to give me permission to leave. I'm not leaving. I'll wait, I'll visit, I'll be there when you get out, whatever it takes. Jasmine, I mean it. She was crying now, couldn't help it. You taught me to fight, Min-jae, to be strong, to not back down when things get hard. You don't get to ask me to apply that everywhere except with you.
He pulled their joined hands to his lips, kissed her knuckles gently. You're going to make this so much harder than it needs to be. Good. It should be hard. Love should be worth fighting for. The door opened. Detective Yoon looked apologetic. Time's up. We need to process him. 1 more minute, Jasmine pleaded. 30 seconds. She stood, moved around the table. Min-jae stood too, and she kissed him with everything she had, poured all her love and determination and fury into that kiss, wanted him to feel it, to remember it, to know she meant every word. When they parted, she whispered against his lips, 3 to 5 years. I'll be waiting every single day. I love you, Jasmine Carter, more than I thought I could love anything. I love you too, Min-jae Park. Now go cooperate impressively. Make them reduce that sentence to 2 years for good behavior. He actually laughed. I'll see what I can do. She watched them take him away, watched him look back once before the door closed between them. Then she walked out of the precinct with her head high and her heart breaking and her resolve absolutely unshaken. Outside, her mother was waiting. How did you know? Jasmine asked. I'm still on the case. Diana studied her daughter. I know he asked to see you. I approved the request. Why? Because despite everything, I can see that you love him, and I'm trying to understand what you see. They stood in silence for a moment. I don't expect you to forgive me, Diana said quietly, but I hope someday you'll understand I was doing what I thought was right. You were protecting me. Jasmine's voice was tired. I get it, Mom, but I'm not a case file. I'm your daughter, and I needed you to trust me to make my own choices, even the hard ones, even the dangerous ones, especially those. She met her mother's eyes. I love him. He's cooperating, he's taking responsibility, and I'm going to wait for him. You can accept that or not, but it's my decision. Diana was quiet for a long moment. Then, slowly, she nodded. Okay. I don't like it. I'm terrified for you, but okay. You're an adult. I need to respect that. Thank you. But, Diana's voice firmed, if he hurts you, if this goes wrong, I want you to know you can come home. Always, no matter what. Something in Jasmine's chest loosened. I know, Mom. Thank you. They didn't hug. The wounds were too fresh, but it was a start. The next 2 years were harder than Jasmine could have imagined. She visited Min-jae every week, sat across scratched plexiglass and talked about everything and nothing, watched him maintain discipline inside, take classes, stay strong. His letters were beautiful, carefully written updates about his days and his thoughts and his love for her. She danced, performed, built her career while waiting. Her mother slowly softened, asking occasionally about Min-jae, making careful efforts to understand. It wasn't perfect, but it was progress. And when Min-jae was finally released, sentence reduced for exceptional cooperation, Jasmine was waiting outside the prison in the early morning light. He walked out in civilian clothes, carrying a small bag of belongings, and stopped when he saw her. For a moment, they just stared at each other. Then Jasmine was running, and Min-jae dropped his bag to catch her, lifting her off her feet as she wrapped around him completely. 2 years, she said into his neck. You managed 2 years, smart guy. Head motivation. He set her down but didn't let go. Someone worth getting back to. They kissed while the morning sun rose, while the world continued around them, while their complicated, impossible love survived everything thrown at it. Later, sitting in her car, Min-jae took her hand. I need you to know I'm done with the syndicate, completely. My cooperation agreement includes permanent severance from organized crime. I'm starting over. Doing what? I've been thinking about opening a legitimate dojo, teaching self-defense, traditional martial arts, using what I know for something good. I think that's perfect. She kissed his knuckles. When do we start? We? You didn't think I was letting you do this alone, did you? I've got 2 years of training to share. Plus, she grinned, I know this amazing dancer who could teach movement workshops, combine martial arts and dance, create something unique. Jasmine Carter, are you proposing a business partnership? Among other things, she pulled a small box from her bag, opened it to reveal a simple silver ring. Min-jae Park, will you build a life with me? Messy, complicated, probably exhausting, definitely worth it. He stared at the ring, then at her, emotions flooding his face. You're proposing? To me? Someone has to, and I've waited 2 years. I'm done waiting for anything. He pulled her close, kissing her with the intensity of everything they'd survived. Yes, absolutely yes, to partnership, to life, to everything. 3 months later, they opened Park Carter Martial Arts and Movement Studio. The grand opening drew her family, his few remaining legitimate friends, students from both their worlds. Diana came, watched her daughter teach self-defense with the confidence Min-jae had helped build, watched Min-jae treat every student with respect and care. Afterwards, she pulled him aside. Take care of my daughter. Always, with everything I have. Diana studied him. I've spent my career believing people can't change. You're making me reconsider. I'm trying every day to be worthy of her, ma'am. That's all I can promise. Keep trying. That's all any of us can do. It wasn't absolution, but it was acceptance, and that was enough. That night, closing the studio together, Jasmine and Min-jae stood in the space they'd built from complicated love and impossible odds. Think we made it? She asked. Made it what? Through everything. The arrests, the prison time, my mother, your past. Think we actually made it to the other side? Min-jae pulled her close. We're standing in our own studio. You're wearing my ring. Your family accepts me, mostly. We survived 2 years apart and came out stronger. I'd say we more than made it. She smiled against his chest. Good, because I've got plans for us, Park. Big plans. Tell me. National dance competitions, expanded martial arts programs, maybe branching into adaptive self-defense workshops for people with disabilities? Oh, and eventually, when we're ready, maybe a wedding. Eventually? Well, she looked up at him grinning, I figure we've survived everything else. Marriage should be easy in comparison. He laughed, the sound full and genuine and happy. Nothing with you is easy, Jasmine Carter. You're the most challenging, complicated, extraordinary person I've ever known. Is that a complaint? It's the highest compliment I have. He kissed her forehead. I love you, everything about you, the strength, the stubbornness, the way you fight for what you want. I love you too, all of you, the reformed criminal, the brilliant teacher, the man who saved my life and then let me save his. They stayed there, holding each other as the city lights came on outside, as their future stretched ahead full of possibilities they'd fought to earn. If this story of fierce love and second chances moved you, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. Share this with someone who needs to hear that love doesn't have to be simple to be real. It just has to be brave enough to fight. Drop a comment telling me which moment hit you hardest. And stay tuned for more stories where powerful souls build extraordinary futures against impossible odds. Until next time, remember the best love stories aren't about finding someone perfect. They're about finding someone worth fighting for, someone worth changing for, someone worth building everything with.